So, Ibrahim bhai, we are live.
All right. All right. Right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Today, I welcome all the viewers to this live stream, which is specific to the Cambridge O-level course that is presented by Nafi Academy. And in this live session, we will be going through one of the Cambridge O-level English 1123 past papers. And of course, there are some aims and goals that we have that we want to achieve by the end of this session. Number one, we would like to have a practical understanding of all the tips and strategies that we have covered in the recorded or on-demand course on the Nafi portal, because there you'll find videos of me talking about all of these things, talking about how to attempt paper one, how to attempt paper two, the different types of writing, formats of writing, and so on and so forth. So the aim, the essential aim behind this session is that you understand all of that from a practical perspective. Number two, there um, there is a general methodology to attempting CIE papers. There's a general methodology for that. And the methodology differs from paper to paper and subject to subject. So a benefit of such sessions is that you get to know that methodology as well. So without further ado, we'll begin. And as we get more students, we'll try to make this as interactive as possible. Um, so you can see this is Cambridge O-Level 1123 May, June 2020 paper. And this is paper one, writing. The time that you're allotted to attempt paper one, writing, is 1 hour and 30 minutes. Of course, you cannot go beyond that. Apart from this paper, when you will be giving your exam, you will receive what is known as an answer booklet. You will receive what is known as an answer booklet. And that answer booklet is what you will use to write down your answers. You will not write down your answers on this piece of paper. I repeat, you will not write down your answers on the question paper. Rather, you will be given a separate answer booklet in which you will write down your answers. Okay. One of the things I highlight a lot in my live sessions with my students and my recorded sessions as well is the importance of reading the instructions and the importance of going through the instructions. answer 3, you're not going to get any extra marks for that. Rather, you would be wasting time, which could lead you to lose marks, because time is already very short. And we try our best to advise our students on how to maximize the time that they have, and how to appropriately utilize that time. And so one of those things, or one of the elements of good utilization of time, it is absolutely imperative that you follow instructions. Then they've given you some general information about the paper. The total mark for this paper is 60. All questions are worth equal marks. Let us now move on to the bread and butter of this paper. We have section 1, directed writing. And I've explained the difference between directed writing and composition before in my sessions. Essentially, directed writing is where you have some instructions, you have some directions given to you by the paper. So on the paper, you will find some directions, you will find some guidelines on what to do. Whereas in composition, you tend not to have any specific directions. You will have general instructions on what to do, but you will not have any further help after that. The difference will become more clear as we go on to attempt both the questions. All right, so here again, you have some important pieces of instruction that you need to keep in mind. Number 1, you are advised to write between 200 and 300 words. I emphasize this again and again, and I'll emphasize it once more. This means that you cannot write less than 200 words, and it means you cannot write more than 200 words. I repeat, you cannot write less than 200 words, and you cannot write more than 300 words. If you do that, you could lose marks, and so on and so forth. The total marks for this section, 30. You will be awarded up to 15 marks for following. Why? Because that shows you understand the information that has been given to you. You will be awarded up to 15 marks for the language you use. Why? Because you have shown how well you're able to use the elements of English language in expressing what you want to say. All right, let's move on to question 1. Question 1 reads, uncle and own a shop which is busy and successful. You in the during your holidays. Your English teacher asks you to make a speech to your class about the shop and your experience of there. Write your speech. You must include what type of is so busy, why working in the shop is a useful experience. All 3 points above in detail. You should make speech interesting and informative. Start speech with good morning, everyone. Now, the first step I like to yes. So as I was saying, I like to break things down into break down into step number one. Step number one. Understand the information that is being delivered here. If you don't understand the information that is being delivered here, if you do not understand that, then you will not be able to properly attempt this question. So it says your uncle and aunt own a shop which is busy and successful. So you have an uncle and aunt, have a shop, and their shop is successful. It's always busy. You sometimes help in the shop during your holidays. So whenever you go on holiday school, you sometimes go to help them in their shop. So it's a family business. Your English teacher asks you to speak to your class about the shop and your experience of working there. So essentially, your English teacher wants to know about your experience. They want you to tell your classmates about your experience working in this shop that is owned by your uncle and aunt. Point one, there's a shop. Point two, is owned by your uncle and aunt. Point three, it is very successful. Number two, sorry, number four, holidays sometimes in the shop. Point number five, you have speech in your class. All right. Now, directed writing because they have given you these steps and these hints and these helping to the new things. I said, write your speech. You must include the following. E, you must include the following 3 points in your speech. What are these 3 points? Number one, what kind of shop it is and what you do there. So it could be uh, general items. It could be a clothes shop. It could be a candy store. It could be a shop where people buy crockery and utensils. So I think, what type of shop is it? Is it a general store, or do they specialize in candies, or is it a milk shop? What type of shop is it? Two, you do there. So what is your role? See how we're doing this? We're trying to dissect everything. Of course, during the exam and examination timing, you have to do this a lot quick, and you can. It's not very difficult. It's just taking time to explain it. Inshallah, it will be easy for you. Try to break things down into points essentially. So you're covering the first point you're covering, you're mentioning what shop it is. Number two, what you do there in the shop. Then point number three that you cover is why the shop is busy and successful. Why is the shop busy and successful? That is something you have to cover as well. Number four, why working in the shop is a useful experience for you. So in total, you're covering points. In total, you're covering things have been meant in the form of 3 points. Notice here, it says 3 points above in detail. These are key words to show you the amount of detail you need to give in your speech. Then it says you should make your speech interesting. Try adding a joke or two. Try newness in there. And informative. They should receive some information at the end of it. Start your speech. Good morning, everyone. That's how you will start your speech. Now, I understood the task and I understood what you have to do exactly. Now is the time where you recall. So step understanding the question. Step 2, and the point you need to mention that you need to write. All right? We're on step 3. Step 3 is where you will recall the format of speech writing. How to write a speech. What is the format that we were taught at Nafi? What is the format that we have to put as far as our speech writing is concerned? So, the general form, there's some tips you need to know about speech writing. Speech writing is flexible as opposed to report writing or account writing, where you have to really limit yourself to formal language and you have to use formal language structures and so on and so forth. That is not always the case in speech writing. You have a lot more of what we call flexibility. Yes, you have to have a respectful tone. You have to completely formal. Remember, of course, this will vary. For example, if you are asked, don't take this as a general rule. Sometimes you speech which is going to be delivered in a formal setting. For example, you are asked to speak at an inauguration, or asked to speak in front of the whole school, and the principal is going to be there. Your parents are going to be there. Yes, in that case, is going to be majorly, for the most part, formal. For the most part, you will write in formal language. However, in speaking to your classmates, this is a bit like a general conversation you would have. Here, you have a lot more ability. After that, you need to remember, if they tell you anything about starting your speech with something or ending it with something, that is what you have to do. Here they mention you have to start your speech. Good morning, everyone. So that is how you start. All right. Also, in speech, you can use some words you wouldn't necessarily use in a report or an account. Why? Because a speech is something that is delivered. You speak. Don't write a speech as given to someone. Rather, the speech is you're going to continue speaking. So in that way, you can add words. I thought, so you add the there to give a real effect of the speech being delivered, and so on. And so the general format is you'll start your speech how they've asked you to start. You will have an introduction. You introduce the idea, you introduce what you're supposed to talk about to your students or classmates. So you can say here that as you all know, so it says, good morning, everyone. As you all know, my uncle and aunt own a coffee shop, and it's a very successful business. It's always busy. Today I'll tell you guys a bit about it, as sometimes during the holidays I go and help the shop. So in the shop, I work as a barista. I do different types of coffee and so on and so forth. So that would be your introduction, right? And in that introduction, you've covered 2 points. You've covered what kind of shop it is and what you do there. You introduction, move on to the body paragraph. So you talk about why the shop is so busy. So you say all of you might be wondering. You all might be wondering why the shop is so busy and how it's so successful. Well, the truth is, my and uncle have worked really hard for this success. They used to wake up early in the mornings and work multiple shifts till the night. Another reason why the shop is so busy and successful, we provide premium quality products at a very reasonable rate. So if you were to go to coffee shop XYZ, the coffee that you might find there that good of a quality will be quite expensive. Whereas we get ours imported all the way from Colombia and Brazil. And we offer that at a reasonable rate for our customers to enjoy. That's your body paragraph done. First body paragraph. Then you move on to the second body paragraph. We're going to mention why working in the shop was useful for you. You can say there that working in the shop has been a very useful experience for me. I've learned how to handle people, how to handle conversations, how to make people happy. And I've also learned the importance of hard work and the importance of striving for success, so on and so forth. And then you can conclude your statement. At the end, don't say in conclusion to or in conclusion, because that is something you'd say in a formal setting and on a piece of writing. A speech, as I said, is supposed to be delivered orally. So you can say something like, I would just like to say that hard work uh, gets you what you want, and then you end your speech. So remember, your speech is always going to have an introduction. It's always going to have body paragraphs. It can have 1 or 2 body paragraphs, and it will always have a conclusion. Try to organize your speech based on these 3 points. So you've got the introduction here, you've got body paragraph 1 here, body paragraph here, and then you write your conclusion. So that, in a nutshell, is how you would directed writing question, and specifically a speech, a question, write down a speech. You 3 steps. Step number 1, we said understand the information that is given to you. Step number 2, understand what you have to do. Step number 3, recall the fact, and then of course to write. Let's move to section. So section here will be given multiple. Choose 1. 2, composition. It says begin your answer booklet. All you had the booklet, writing down your answer for the question directed right. Now don't write answer question on the same page. Move on to a new page. Then it says write on one of the following topics. Meaning just one. This is at the beginning of composition, the task that you have chosen. So at the top or at the side, if you choose 2, you can mention 2. If you choose 3, you can mention 3, so on and so forth. You are advised to write between 350 and 500 words. What does this mean, guys? It means you cannot write less than 350 words, and you cannot write more than 500 words. The awarded mark accurate use of language and relevant content. You have 3 marks. We've been given questions 2 to 6. Of course, we all of these different types of writing. You have descriptive writing here to describe a very lively, noisy place you know, and a very quiet one. remember that you're describing the atmosphere and any people as well as the places. Or you can go for an argumentative essay in which you argue for a position. There's two options here. So first impressions are nearly always wrong. Do you think this is true? Give reasons and examples to support your view. Or there's too much pressure on people to follow fashion. Do you agree? Give reasons and examples to support your view. Then you have narrative writing, and there's write a story which includes the sentence, "Will open the jewelry box, they cannot believe what was in it." Or write a story in which a train ticket plays an important part. So here you're supposed to choose one, and this is exactly what we'll do to illustrate this. So because generally speaking, students tend to find argumentative essays and narrative writings, and narrative writing to be the easiest. Descriptive writing requires a lot more imagination, but I highly suggest that you don't leave it off. It's a skill, it's very good. Learn how to describe places, right? But for the sake of it, we choose argumentative writing. We'll say or in fact, let's just choose narrative writing for this, and we'll cover the others in other live sessions, inshallah. So let's choose this one. Write a story which includes the sentence, "When they opened the jewelry box, they could not believe what." Now, remember, you are writing a story, a narrative. Do not confuse between a piece of narrative writing, and a piece of descriptive writing. In a piece of descriptive writing, you're supposed to take one aspect, right, and describe its elements. So, for example, I want to describe my dream house. I'll say, as I look upon my dream house, I see walls made of white marble, glimmering like the rays of the sun. I see gates with hues of golden and silver, and these gates, they are like the gates of Hogwarts. And as I enter, I see a massive garden, like the one in Alice in the Wonderland. And so you're describing one place and its elements. You're not narrating a story in that sense. But in narrative writing, you're narrating a story which has events, it has a plot, it has a climax, and so on and so forth. I hope that is clear. So you need to make sure, number one, you understand the question really well. It says write a story which includes the sentence. When they opened the jewelry box, they could not know what was in it. So now you can mention at the start, middle, or end. It's up to you. They've given you that freedom, because all they want is a story which includes the sentence. Now the rest depends on your imagination. All right. Generally, if someone was writing a story, I would recommend that they take a piece of paper and they brainstorm the plot, the events, and everything. But in your exams, you won't have time for that. So you have to be creative, and you have to be creative quick. But what you do is you take a 5-minute break. All right. Sit back, and think about what you want to write. So number one, as we mentioned, think about the characters. All right. So me, for example, right now I'm thinking about a thief. I'm thinking about a rich family that owns a big house. They have a lot of jewelry, and in that rich family, a father, a mother, and a son. And I'm thinking of police officers. These are the 3 types of characters I'm thinking of, and I'll give each of them names. All right, and I'll describe each of them. So if I'm talking about the father, say a short and stout man with a receding hairline, for example. And as I described the thief, a bulky and tall man, for example, and so on and so forth. Number 2, I'm thinking about plot. What are the events that are going to happen, and what are the events that are going to take place? So Let's start off with number one, an introduction to the story where you get to know about the house and the rich family. That's one way to start. Or another way to start is that you start straight away with the problem. And that's a very nice way to start as well. For example, you can say, you can start off with, oh my God, what a day have I had. I wish I could rest. But as I see it, there's police around my house. My wife is sitting with her head in her hand, and my daughter is in the corner playing with her toys. I go to the police officer and I ask him, "Sir, did you manage to find the things?" And so on and so forth. You can start with that. Then the storyline continues. The police officer tells them about the search that's going on, and the man recalls that as he was sleeping, he heard a noise. He heard one of his living room windows break, and a thief came in. And as he went down with a baseball bat to defend himself, he had seen that the thief had already gone. But how did the thief know where all the valuables were, and how did he know the password to the safe? So you can add all those elements, interesting elements to the story. So you have your event, and then of course you have the resolution of the story. Or sorry, you can end your story at a suspense point, um, as well. Just give me 1 minute. The adhan is going on. All right, we're back. So you can end with a suspense as well. So the police called me, and they said that they had found some stuff outside outside a used car lot, and they came with a big box. In that box was a smaller box that I recognized, which held a very valuable piece of jewelry. But when they opened the jewelry box, they could not believe what was in it. Something had been planted, and you stop there. All right, and so on and so forth. And you can make this, or you can turn this into whatever you want. It depends on your creativity. And so that's why I tell my students that if you want to be good writers, you have to be good readers. You have to be reading daily. Reading is not just a hobby. Reading needs to be a habit. Reading is a habit of successful people. If you like reading nonfiction, read nonfiction. If you like reading fiction, read Sharia compliant fiction that is good, that has a message, good stuff. Um, and then when you come across these questions, there'll be a piece of cake because you already have those plots in your mind and you're already imagining those things. After you understand the story, think of the characters, think about the plots, think about how the plot develops, think about how you want to start the story, which events you want to mention in the middle, and how you want to end the story. All right. Of course, you cannot go beyond 500 words, and you cannot write less than 350 words. So always make sure you're going ahead and counting your words. And with that, if there are any questions, we'll take any questions. But that is how you will solve, and that is how you will attempt an O-level English 1123 writing paper, or paper 1, the directed writing one and the composition one. And as you can see, the difference between directed writing and composition is here. In directed writing, they've given you some help, they've given you some points, whereas in composition, you don't have many points. You have basic guidelines. So that is that as far as our session is concerned. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them, inshallah. Before we end our session, there are just a few things I'd like to mention about the O-level course that is being provided by Nafi Academy. Some of its salient features, some of the things that we're trying to do. Essentially, if you join in, if you register for the Nafi O A-level Academy, number one, you'll get a host of recorded videos that you can watch at your own pace and understand the content at your own pace. That's number one. Number two, you will get a lot of assignments. So it's not like we've just given you recorded videos and left you. No, you will get class notes, presentations. You will also get assignments, and these assignments will be regularly checked by the teacher, in this case, me. I'll be checking all your assignments. Additionally, you will also get to participate in live sessions. So these live sessions, some of them are like the one you just saw, in which we go through past papers. And if you join through, if you're a part of Nafi Academy, You join through the Zoom link. You can interact with me. We can talk about some issues that you're facing. We can come up with solutions and so on and so forth. So joining Nafi Academy for for O level English and for any other subject is a very interactive experience. It's self-paced in the sense that you can complete it in as much time as you want. You get feedback from the teachers. You can ask as many questions as you like, and so on and so forth. We have a lot of things planned from them. I'm updating the O-level course based on the 2023 guidelines. New videos are going to be uploaded as well on different topics, covering different things. Moreover, I've added some novels and other activities. I'm going to add other activities onto the portal to help the students learn and develop in their language skills as well. So I hope to see you in the course, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.